Hi YouTube, my name is William Bishop. You can find me on eToro under the username WMBishop. I was recently interviewed on the Copytraders Club podcast by Gavin McCauley. On that podcast, we spoke about my investment qualifications, my experience, my current eToro portfolio, and we discussed my best investment to date, which is Mastercard, a company I've owned for more than 16 years, and a company where I have made more than 100 times my initial investment. Now, of course, when you speak about things like that, it does attract the attention of others. And following on from that podcast interview, a very popular YouTuber, Felix Falax, made a video called The Anatomy of a Proper Investor. On that video, he featured myself and two other eToro investors. While looking at my eToro profile, Felix Falax made a very good point. He said that he looked at my qualifications and he spoke about my history of almost 19 years as an investor. And he said that we have to take that at face value. We don't know for certain if I am who I say I am. And that's true not only on eToro, that's true anywhere on the internet. You will find on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, you will find experts or people claiming to be experts. I have loads of people on Instagram who follow me. They're cryptocurrency or foreign exchange experts. They're stood in front of a fancy car that probably isn't theirs because they're not who they say they are. For what it's worth, Felix Falax does believe I am who I say I am. This is based on interactions we've had on a Facebook group that we used to both be members of, and also interactions on eToro and YouTube. However, I don't want people to just believe I am who I say I am. I want people to know I am who I say I am. And so following on from Felix Falax's video, I decided to go into the loft to get the contract notes that I have for the purchases I've made since the year 2003. Now, if you're not familiar with contract notes because you're a new investor, back when I started to invest, we used to get charged hefty commissions to make an investment. And I believe now that as part of justifying that investment, the broker used to send a contract note and quarterly statements through the post. This is some correspondence which takes me from about 2003 to 2009. And today I want to share my best investment with you, my contract note for Mastercard. Now, on the Copytraders Club podcast, I use data from my Excel file on my computer. Unfortunately, I have found there are some inaccuracies. So when you find out there's a mistake with data that you have given out, you have one of two choices. You can decide to ignore it and hope no one notices. But if that's your instinct, then you're probably better off suited to a career in politics. I realise there's a mistake. No one's asked me to do this video. I've done this video by my own decision. And I want to set the record straight. Just so you know, I am who I say I am. So, on the Copytraders Club podcast, it was recorded before the US markets opened on the 27th of June 2022. I said on the podcast that I purchased Mastercard on the 30th of March 2006. I actually misspoke there. I did mean to say the 30th of May. In fact, it wasn't possible to buy Mastercard on the 30th of March 2006 because their IPO date, the date they became listed on the stock market, was in fact the 25th of May 2006. I said I bought them at $4.30 per share at an exchange rate of $1.8821 to the pound for a total investment of £982.41. However, after looking at the contract note, I noticed that I actually purchased it on the 25th of May 2006, and instead of a $4.30 per share value, I paid $4.33.5. Instead of the exchange rate $1.8821 to the pound, I paid an exchange rate of $1.8439 to the pound. Now the per share price and the exchange rate, you won't actually see them on the contract note because the per share price I'm showing you there is after the share split of 2014. That was a 10-for-1 split. So on the contract note, you will see I actually paid $43.35 for 43 shares. The exchange rate is different to the contract note because subsequent to this, TD Waterhouse, the broker, realised that they'd made an error in the exchange rate and so they reimbursed me. Therefore, my total investment was not £982.41, it was in fact an investment of £1,010.93. So let me show you the contract note. I have covered over my personal information just in case any scoundrels are watching, so you won't be able to see my address, my client code or the contract number. However, you can see it's from TD Waterhouse. There's my name, Mr. W. Bishop. I bought it on the 25th of May 2006. It says bought there, Mastercard, 43 shares, $43.35, a total outlay of $1,864.05, and it does say here £1,016.05. I wasn't actually charged commission on this because I was a new customer to TD Waterhouse. I had 2 months commission free, which we now take for granted. On the 25th of September 2006, they sent me this following letter. Important information regarding the calculation of foreign exchange rates on transactions in your account. And they note that an error was made in the calculation of these rates on a number of transactions before the 28th of July 2006. At this point, I had made 3 purchases. I bought shares in Johnson & Johnson, Pepsi, and then Mastercard. They were all for the same value. They said as a result of their error, I received a less favourable exchange rate than intended on purchases of foreign currency. Now, as a UK investor, when I buy shares in an American company, I am effectively buying foreign currency because these shares need to be paid for in US dollars. And so I received a less favourable exchange rate. I received a reimbursement of £15.57. Now that did include interest. On the back of the letter, it's broken down. The payment of £15.37 represents a reimbursement of the amount I was overcharged, and 20 pence represents net interest, interest net of 20 pence in tax. So I have taken the £15.37, divided it by the 3 transactions I made, and arrived at £5.12. So I deduct that from my total purchase. So as you may recall, I bought at $43.35. This is a pre-split price. I bought 43 shares, and it says on the contract note £1,016.05, but after deducting that £5.12 rebate, it was a total cost of £1,010.93. Now that stock split I've mentioned, Mastercard effected a 10-for-1 stock split on the 21st of January 2014. Investors now had 10 shares for each share previously owned. My 43 shares were converted to 430 shares without any further investment on my behalf. Therefore, my effective purchase price is divided by 10, so it is now $4.33.5 per share. If you are skeptical about the stock split, let me take you to the investor relations page of Mastercard, and we will go on to stock information and stock splits. You can do this yourself at home if you want to. We scroll down, we see that there was a stock split declared on the 10th of December 2013 for shareholders on record 9th of January 2014, and it became payable on the 21st of January 2014, and it was a 10-for-1 stock split. So my 43 shares became 430 shares on the 28th of January 2014 with no further investment on my behalf. Now let's look at my investment record when I include dividends. So this is a return purely in US dollars. There was a total cost of $1,864.05. On the 24th of June, that was the last closing date before the Copytrader podcast, Mastercard shares closed at $300 $30.50 per share. And over these 16.1 years, I received $9.01 per share in dividends. Now that's after tax, which is important. So add the 330.5 to the $9.01 per share, divide that by the share price, 4.335, and that is a return of 7,731.83%. Now that's in US dollars. What happened over the course of those 16 years was the exchange rate moved in my favour. The dollar strengthened against the pound. Those 430 shares on the 24th of June were worth $142,115. On 24th of June, £1 is worth $1.2272. So the $142,115 is worth £115,804.27. That is a return of 11,355.22% in British pounds, and that is without including the dividends I've received over 16 years. So, Mastercard investment, not including the dividends, of $3,874.3, which, when you think about it, is more than twice my investment in US dollar terms, and it's actually more than 3 times my investment in British pounds. But I didn't include the dividends in the Copytrader podcast when talking about British pounds, so I'm not going to do it here. So, as you can see, my total investment was not £982.41, it was £1,010.93. At market close on the 24th of June, it was worth £115,804.27p. But I did not make 117.88 times my money. So far, at that point, I had made 114.55 times my money for a compound annual growth rate of 34.24%, and not the 34.48% mentioned before. If you are skeptical about these returns, because they are huge returns, I appreciate that. Let's go back to the Mastercard website, and on that stock information tab, we can look at the stock data and a chart. And let's go down to investment calculator. Let's put in my initial investment, $1,864. And it was in 2006 on the 25th of May. And for completeness, let's use the date of the last closing price before the Copytraders podcast, which was the 24th of June 2022. I'm going to compare the return of Mastercard to the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones. And you can see from the top here, this is $1,864 without dividends reinvested. The green line is how Mastercard have performed, and if you look right down at the bottom of the chart, you will see the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones. Their performance is dwarfed in comparison to that of Mastercard. If we look at the investment was all made at $1,864. The price here Mastercard are using is $4.60, which was the closing price on the 25th of May. Remember, I bought it at a lower price than this, so my total return is actually higher than that $7,084. But over those 16 years, the S&P 500 returned 207.31%, the Nasdaq 428.04%, and the Dow Jones 180.98%. Compound annual growth rate for the S&P 500 was 7.23%, the Nasdaq 10.9%, the Dow Jones 6.63%. And in this example, at the higher share price, the ending investment is $133,924.35 for Mastercard. If you invested the same amount in the S&P 500, you would have $5,728.34. In the Nasdaq, you would have $9,842.69, and on the Dow Jones, you would have had you would be left over with $5,237.45. So you can see this investment in Mastercard clearly outperformed all three of those indexes. Now, the point of this video is not for me to brag. That's ridiculous. The point of this video is for me to show you I am who I say I am. That's very important to me. In future videos, I will show you my decisions I made in the run-up to purchasing Mastercard, so perhaps you can learn from me and you can make an investment like this yourself. Although, of course, making 100 times your investment is quite rare. Now, one last thing to remember, nothing I have said in this video should be taken as financial advice. It's just merely for educational purposes. I'm not a registered financial advisor. If you do want to make an investment, you should also always do your own research. You should research the company you want to buy, or if you are copying someone like me on eToro, research that person. If you are unsure, please seek the help of an independent, suitably qualified financial advisor. Now, I did mention I will make a video to show you how I got to this decision to invest in Mastercard. If you would like to see that video, please subscribe to this channel and you will get a notification when that comes up. If you would like to follow me on eToro, please do that too. You will see companies in my portfolio where I've used the same decision making to arrive at an investment in those. However, there is no guarantee any of them will make 100 times return on their money, and some of the companies in this folder I have lost money on, which is perfectly normal. If you don't fancy doing the work yourself to find these investments, you can always copy me. You can go to eToro, look up WM Bishop, and click that copy button for as little as $200. There are no management fees for you to pay, and I will do all the work for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments.